Good morning, everyone. It's around 8:30, a little after here on Thursday morning. Mark has been reading through the book of Genesis today. He's going to be reading in Genesis 30. We see this ongoing kind of a jealousy between Leah and Rachel. Leah gave birth to all these different children, and Rachel's kind of blaming Jacob on it. She says, "Give me children or else I die." And Jacob's angry. Said, "Am I in God's stead, who hath withheld from thee the fruit of the womb?" Jacob knew God was sovereign over opening and closing the womb. And then finally, after Leah gave birth to several other children, Leah was kind of cocky about all this children that God gave to her. And anyway, she bare 5 different sons to Jacob. And then she bared another son. And then she bore a daughter, Dinah. And finally, God remembered Rachel. And he hearkened unto her and opened her womb. And she brought forth a very important person in the history of Christendom. Whom did she bring forth? Joseph. Who was given the coat of many colors, who became right next to Pharaoh. So sometimes when things aren't happening in our timing, we throw up our hands and just say, well, God must not love me. But God works everything to his own timing. So I'll turn this over to Mark and let him read this to you. But the fact is that Rachel finally gave birth to Joseph. And Joseph was hated by his brothers too, was he not? So sometimes when our relatives don't seem to look too favorably on us, don't take it too personally. Realize that there's a purpose in all of these things that happen in our lives.
Genesis chapter 30. And when Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister, said unto Jacob, "Give me children or else I die." Jacob's anger was kindled against Rachel, and he said, "Am I in God's stead, who hath withheld from thee the fruit of the womb?" And she said, "Behold, my maid Bilhah going into her, and she shall bear up on my knees, that I may also have children by her." She gave him Bilhah, her handmaid, a wife, and Jacob went in unto her. Bilhah conceived and bare Jacob a son, and Rachel said, "God hath judged me, and hath also heard my voice, and hath given me a son, therefore called she his name Dan." Bilhah, Rachel's maid, conceived again and bare Jacob a second son. Rachel said, "With great wrestlings have I wrestled with my sister, and I have prevailed," and she called his name Naphtali. Leah saw that she had left bearing. She took Zilpah, her maid, gave her Jacob a wife, and Zilpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob a son. Leah said, "A troop cometh," and she called his name God. And Zilpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob a second son. Leah said, "Happy am I, if the daughters will call me blessed," and she should call his name Asher. Reuben went in days of wheat harvest and found mandrakes in the field and brought them unto his mother Leah. And Rachel said to Leah, Give me, I pray thee, of thy son's mandrakes. She said unto her, Is it a small matter if thou hast taken my husband? Wouldest thou take my son's mandrakes also? And Rachel said, Therefore he shall lie with thee tonight for thy son's mandrakes. Jacob came out of the field in the evening, and Leah went and to meet him and said, Thou must come in unto me. Surely I have hired thee with my son's mandrakes. And he lay with her that night. God hearkened unto Leah, and she conceived and bare Jacob the fifth son. And Leah said, God hath given me my hire, because I have given my maiden to my husband. She called his name Issachar. And Leah conceived again and bare Jacob the sixth son. Leah said, God hath to do with me a good dowry. Now will my husband dwell with me, because I have borne him six sons. And she called his name Zebulun. Afterwards she bare a daughter and called her name Dinah. And God remembered Rachel, and God hearkened to her and opened her womb. She conceived and bare a son, and said, God hath taken away my reproach. Called his name Joseph, and said, The Lord shall add to me another son. Came to pass when Rachel had borne Joseph that Jacob said unto Laban, Send him away, that I may go unto my own palace, to my own country. Give me my wives and my children, for whom I have served thee, and let me go, for thou knowest my servant which I have done unto thee. Laban said unto him, I pray thee, if I have found favor in thine eyes, for I have learned by experience the Lord hath blessed me for thy sake. He said, Appoint me thy wages, and I will give it. And he said unto him, Thou knowest now I serve thee, and how thy cattle was with me, for it was little thou hadst before I came, and is now increased in the multitude, and the Lord hath blessed thee since my coming. Now when shall I provide for mine own house also? He said, What shall I give thee? And Jacob said, Thou shalt give me any sheep thing, if thou wilt do this thing for me. I will again feed and keep thy flock. I will pass through all thy flock today, removing from thence all the speckled and spotted cattle, all the brown cattle among the sheep, and the spotted and speckled among the goats, and such shall be my hire. So shall my righteousness answer for me in time to come, when it shall come from my hire before thy face. Every one that is not speckled and spotted among the goats and brown among the sheep, they shall be counted stolen from me. Laban said, Behold, I would it might be according to thy word. He removed that day the he-goats that were ring-straked and spotted, and all she-goats that were speckled and spotted, and every one that had some white in it, all the brown among the sheep, and gave them into the hand of his sons. And he set 3 days' journey betwixt himself and Jacob. Jacob and fed the rest of Laban's flocks, and Jacob took him rods of green poplar, of hazel and chestnut tree, and piled white streaks in them, made the white appear which was in the rods, and set the rods which he had piled before the flocks in the gutters, watering troughs, and the flocks came to drink, that they should receive when they came to drink. And the flocks received before the rods, and brought forth cattle ring-straked, speckled, and spotted. Jacob did separate the lambs, and set the faces of the flocks toward the ring-strakes, all the brown in the flock of Laban, and he put his own flocks by themselves, put them not into Laban's cattle. And it came to pass, whensoever the stronger cattle did conceive, Jacob laid the rods before the eyes of the cattle in the gutters, they might conceive among the rods. But when the cattle were feeble, he put them not in. So the feebler were Laban's and the stronger Jacob's. And the man increased exceedingly, had much cattle, and maidservants and menservants and camels.
So God even determines whether cattle are speckled or spotted, right? Y'all have a good day. And old Laban was sure a conniver, wasn't he? Talk about a taker. He was definitely a taker.